Well, I think I started the tag team thing first.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically the same thing that Retro Rick mentioned. In fact, it actually means the same thing for even the singles titles, but it's handled a little differently. But otherwise, the concept is the same. You have the hopefuls pool, but that's where you vote for names before the show.
Right.
You have the hopefuls pool, and the one who wins the hopefuls pool, which in its simplest form is a Royal Rumble, and whether it's the singles or the tag team variant. In the tag team variant, it's you and your partner, or tag team partner, I should say, that make it to the next level, which would be the contenders pool, and then after that, you have the rungs 3 through 1, and then you have the championship. Now, the championship, why don't you explain that part?
Yeah, we do that. Of course, we explained the battle rankings. You just go all the way up to rung one. But to make it a little bit different and to kind of add a little bit of kind of the wrestling aspect, when you get up to the titles, in the singles version, we have 3 titles at the top. In the tag version, we just went with 2 titles. I think partly because we have so many names involved since everyone's a tag team, and I don't know, it just seemed like you don't need as many. So we talked about the Legends of WrestleMania. We'll take the $1 million title. That's the third of the 3 titles, the lowest one.
Yeah.
So when you have that title in this case at the starting $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, if he wins when somebody faces him, he does not automatically go up and face for the Intercontinental title. He stays at that rung because in professional wrestling, lower titles like the Intercontinental title, the United States title, in in some ways, they're kind of titles to help groom somebody to see if they might want to move them up to getting the heavyweight world title kind of thing.
Yes.
So we use that premise. So when $1 million Man defends his title, then whoever the challenger was that lost to him moves back down to rung one, and he just hangs on to it. Now, when he loses the title, that's when he gets a shot at the Intercontinental title. He actually moves up by losing, but of course, that's a reward for having held the title.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And then the number 2 title works the same way, the Intercontinental in this case. Same thing. So it's kind of like if $1 million Man loses, he gets his shot. Now, if he loses that shot, he drops back down, and now he's a contender for the $1 million title again. But if he's able to beat Rude and the Intercontinental title, the Nat character moves up and challenges for the heavyweight title.
Yes.
And at the heavyweight level, if and we actually this is something I do with XTW a lot when I have ideas. I'll pitch them to I'll put them on the board, and God, I wish we could just get at least a couple more people to participate. We have TehJew22 and we have this other guy Jason. That's pretty much all that participate. But I will bounce ideas off of them.
Yes. Yes, you do.
And TehJew, you might remember this one. I had the idea of, well, should we make it where if the heavyweight champion at that time loses, that they stay there and get a rematch, or do they just drop down to the Intercontinental? And I think the vote pretty much went they drop down.
Yeah, I just thought, the rematch clause, it's overused. I'm like, I just thought that little storyline thing of the rematch clause. I mean, it can work in some cases, but in other cases, I'm like, I'm sorry, no, no.
And especially in the premise of the ladder tournament, it really makes it where it's hard to get that title.
Yeah, and it's hard to hold on to it when you do have it.
Now, of course, another concept. I'm flipping through my notebook here. I don't know when I started it, but I did notice over time that because of that premise of the you have to hold a title and you challenge when you move up, that certain characters, such as the heavyweight champion, doesn't get involved in a match that often because of how that works. And so at some point, I came up with the idea of the unranked match. This is basically an extra match that's on the show that it doesn't allow anyone to move up or down or anything. But if there are two or more characters that are either with a title or on a rung that do not have an opponent, they get put in a match. So at least they can compete.
That's a good idea. And plus, it works mostly. It kind of works with a certain aspect of WWE from 2011 onward. It has something to do with the universe mode and the fact that. Well, actually, no. It was introduced in 2012.
Right.
The momentum aspect. You can tell the audience more about that part.
Yeah, that was something they introduced it into the game. They've really kind of expanded on it now. But basically, when characters like win matches in the universe mode, which I love that because you get these cutscenes that just randomly happen. But as they win matches or whatever, they'll gain momentum, and so their attributes will slightly increase. Almost just like real world, you get on a roll, and it gets harder to beat you because you're just a little bit better.
Doesn't it work the other way around?
Yeah, actually, I think, yeah, in those older ones it does. I know it definitely in 2K16 it does. So if you get on a losing streak, your attributes will drop a little bit.
And I take it that because of the momentum system, it kind of balanced things out as far as the unranked matches are concerned.
Yeah, it's so funny because actually the momentum thing never came into my mind when I came up with doing that. It was just more a thing of, like I say, just giving like the world title or the heavyweight champion that's not in a lot of matches just a chance to have them perform in a match.
So it's kind of like booking an actual show.
Almost.
Almost. So yeah, I mean his. So yeah, in its simplest form, I mean you just go to his. What is
Now,
it?
did we mention what the appeal of XTW really is?
I actually no, I don't remember that. What is it?
That whoever participates is voting on every single match. You get to vote what match type that they are going to wrestle in. So it's kind of like if you've watched Raw when they have the Raw React thing and they have you go on Twitter and vote. It's kind of like that, except for every match, and your votes actually count.
Oh, of course. Just the fact that, yeah.
So I'm going through my notebook here. I'm looking at a tag match from SmackDown versus Raw. JTG and Shad versus Edge and Christian. So if that was the match, then you would just pick from the available options, which I have on the web page. I also on the Facebook page.
Yes.
You can look up Extreme Team, and Extreme is spelled X-TREME, Extreme Team Network. And you would just, so you'd vote, so you'd see like JTG and Shad, Edge and Christian, and what match type do I want them in. In the case of the one I'm looking at, they ended up fighting in a cage match.
Yes. Okay, forgive me, I'm just answering some random Skype messages. I'm like, I'm kind of like
multitasking.
I know, but I was like, I'm just explaining to the person that I'm talking with you, but at the same time, I don't want to just completely ignore them.
Yes.
But okay, what was I gonna say? Oh my god, I forgot. Now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, the last thing that I was saying was the voting on the match, and there was a cage match on that one I was looking at. Nope, that doesn't jog your memory.
No, I'm trying to think of something, but
Is that why I smell smoke? Oh, sorry.
What?
I said, is that why I smell smoke?
No, I was trying to think of something. Shoot. Now I forgot, man. Oh gosh.
I'm such a wise ass sometimes.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, but yeah, I really like that concept where you can just like I was like you said. I mean, you go to oh, shoot. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. You go to the messaging board, or in this case, Facebook, and then just you look at the matchups that he has, and then you can vote on whichever one that you want to uh, do.
Well, you vote on all the matches. You just vote what type of match you want them in.
Yeah.
Except for the hopefuls pool, that's where you submit based on the in-game roster that again is listed on the Facebook and on the web page on the message board. You just either submit 10 people or 10 tag teams.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgive me, I'm just multitasking. I mean,
I
I don't, like I said, I don't want to be rude, but at the same time, I'm like, I am talking with you. I'm like, oh God, it's
I
like,
hate trying to multitask. I'm so not good at it. When it comes to me like multitasking, here's the one I do the most. I'll be watching something on TV, and then I'll come over to read an email or respond to an instant message or something, and then I have to rewind what I'm watching for a few seconds because I wasn't paying attention.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, okay, now I remember.
Ding! The
Um,
light goes on.
yeah, definitely the light goes on. But yeah, I remember the first couple of years you used Legends of WrestleMania 2009 and 2010. Those were three of my favorite games right then and there, especially just because of the gameplay. Like the gameplay, sadly has become more and more stiff, if you know what I mean. Like in the sense of it's not as arcadey as like some of the early games.
True.
Like it's not arcadey, although some people say that because it was arcadey, people loved it. Like
Yep.
like like what is it? It's called SmackDown. Here comes the pain.
Oh, those are like the older ones.
Yeah. Those ones, like some people say that those are the funnest games to play.
I don't know. I never much cared for that era of those. I think maybe I was spoiled with even a little bit. I think further back than that, the N64 games, Revenge and No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. Oh, those games were fun.
Oh yes, I remember now. Those games were so fun to do because oh, I don't know what to say, man.
WCW versus NWO World Tour. That was the one that came before Revenge that introduced that gameplay style. I still remember when I got it. It was more on a whim. I was at the time it was called Funko Land. I don't know if some of those still exist in the United States at all or not. Most of them became Game Stops,
Oh yeah, that's probably much what it became because I don't remember Funkle, but I probably might have remembered GameStop.
and I remember there was that wrestling game, and I was just like, oh, it's a wrestling game. It's WCW. Okay, I'll get it. And I brought it home, and what really blew me away was that evening I had two friends over. Now, up to this point, keep in mind, almost any wrestling game, a long match was considered like 5 minutes.
Really?
Just because that's how old games were. There was a more of an arcade, so there wasn't a lot of depth to it, that kind of thing. It was just like almost like fighting games. You had energy bars, and when that energy went down, then you'd get pinned or whatever.
Oh, those games. Yeah. What is it? It was. Well, it was. Well, I was gonna say the initials, but I probably might get in trouble for that. But it was called World Wrestling Federation Warzone.
Well, there was one called Raw is War.
Yeah. Well.
There was several.
Yeah, but those were great times back in those days.
But when WCW NWO World Tour, when I had that first night, and I had two, you can only play. Well, no, you could do 4 player, but I think they just were doing a one-on-one match. And I mean, they were both trying to win, and they literally went to a 30-minute draw. And I was just like, I've never seen this happen in a wrestling game before. This is amazing.
Oh, those games. I'm like, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, those games. Yeah, back in those
We had
times, yeah.
just like Revenge and uh, No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. World Tour, WCW versus NWO World Tour was the first one. Revenge was the follow up. And then they switched licenses and went to WWF, but same company, AKI and THQ. And here's something that I learned that's so funny about video gamers out there, and actually almost more the wrestling fan base. Everybody started saying when they went to WWF and were making WrestleMania 2000, oh, well, now the games are going to be good because it's WWF. And I was like, no, that doesn't make a difference. The game's, yes, the game's going to be good. Who they were making it for doesn't matter. The game is good.
And it turned out that that was true. The game was good.
You know, another game that did that I remember was, and this again, this isn't chronological, but it fits within our little topic. The Rock Band video games. I love Rock Band, by the way. Well, first it was Guitar Hero, Guitar Hero 1 and 2, and then Rock Band came out, and then there was Guitar Hero 3 and whatever.
Yes.
But what a lot of people didn't know, there was a lot of people that said, oh, Rock Band, they're just copying Guitar Hero. But what they didn't know is that the developer called Harmonix made Guitar Hero 1 and Guitar Hero 2, and they went on to do Rock Band, and they actually allowed the Guitar Hero license to be picked up by Activision and Neversoft. So it's like they were competing against themselves, and people weren't paying attention to the developer to know that no, the same company that's doing Rock Band did Guitar Hero 1 and 2.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it. But then again, I don't follow the Guitar Hero rock band games. If only because, well, they never made those games for like the GameCube and the Wii.
They
But
did make Rock Band on the Wii.
oh, they didn't. Well,
Yeah,
even if they even so, I never really followed it, sadly, so I wouldn't have known.
they are kind of pricey to play, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're telling me. That's
And
probably
I'm a
why I
sucker.
never.
I get all the instruments and all that. A lot of DLC.
Oh, excuse me, my back hurts a little bit. Okay, and then let's see. I believe it was at around 2000. Oh my god. Uh, this person is trying to call me, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of a conversation with you, and I'm recording this, but I'm like, you know, it's just, oh my god, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, right. Now I remember. At some point, DLC was introduced in the games.
Yeah, for the WWE games.
Yes. Uh, what did you think of that concept when it came out?
Oh, of course I loved it because well, and especially for the fact of doing my XTW because it gives you a bigger roster, gives you more names to pick from. Some people of course complain, but then again, I mean, gamers are going to complain about everything, but they're like, "Oh, it's just a money grab, da 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 da." And I always look at DLC like if it's something you kind of need for the game, that's kind of a money grab. Like if you can't complete things without it. But if it's something that's just plain additional, like characters, then why complain about it? Just don't buy it.
Yeah, definitely. Don't buy it if you don't want it.
It's not like these games that have like certain levels and you have to buy whatever to play the next level or whatever. It's like no, that's a money grab.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed lately. Um, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Lately, I've been noticing that some of the games recently somewhat require you to have DLC. uh, in order to complete the game. Because before it's like you bought the game as a whole, and that the DLC is just something additional to it. Nowadays, it's like you can't complete the game without a DLC.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it works for some games, but at the same time, it's like, it's just, I don't know what to say, man. But
It almost makes it seem like they decided to release a full priced, incomplete game, and then they want you to pay more to be able to complete it.
yes, that's kind of the problem with DLC nowadays. But I mean, some games do this, others not so much, and I'm thankful they not all games do this. But I just noticed that little trend going up.
It does depend, of course, on the company. I mean, Nintendo, of course, they're not as necessarily as up on DLC as other companies, but they do it so great. Like Mario Kart 8, for example, you had the DLC packs, and if you bought two of them, it was kind of like buying one and get the second one at half price. And each pack was what, $8 individually, I think it was, and you could get them both for 12. And each DLC pack had 8 new tracks and 3 new cars, and or was it 4 new cars and 3 characters, or the other way around? But there were 8 tracks. It's like $1 a track, and these tracks were nice.
Yes.
It's like you got your money's worth for getting the DLC packs there. It wasn't like you paid $10 and you got one track.
Oh God, that would be a ripoff.
And some companies do that.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to name names because I think that I probably would get taken down just if I did that.